the reality in the last 5 years, 2015 to 2020, actually shows the attacks on campuses and academics have continued and increased. The attacks on academics, member of the university, and its academic activities are left without accountability, and hence the situations actually is parallel to the context of declining democracy and the rise of authoritarian politics in Indonesia, as mentioned by Fedi Hadis in 2017, at Aspinall, and also Evo Burden in 2018, and also Thomas Power in 2018. My articles argues that in an anti-science power structure, science is only a political accessory. Meanwhile, intellectuals and even former pro-democratic activists in the political bureaucracy maneuver to defend the power by denying science. And hence, I put the title of my presentation is The Return of Indonesia's Authoritarian Politics and Its Impact to Academic Freedom. Uh, my article has three questions. The first one is, how does authoritarianism in Indonesia currently affect the worsening situation of protecting academic freedom and the production of scientific knowledge? And second, why can the regime easily take advantage of intellectuals to be involved in supporting anti-science policies, so that in the context of overcoming the corona pandemic, policies that endanger the public interest are created? And the third one, why the campus submits easily to regime rules that make the bastion of academic freedom is so fragile? On the basis of these three questions, I also consider, in the midst of these pressures and threats to academic freedom, what have been and are being strived to promote policy change, and to what extent civil society strategies could affect to the changing situation. And this articles applies an interdisciplinary approach in order to explain the political trend of academic freedom policies in Indonesia amidst the intensifying attacks civil liberties, which today is not only happening in Indonesia, but also it is a global phenomenon. And responding to the first questions, how does authoritarianism in Indonesia currently affect the worsening situations of protecting academic freedom and producing the scientific knowledge? Of course, it is related to or parallel to democratic regulations, or the turn to authoritarianisms, or repressive pluralism, as mentioned by Greg Philly. And I myself consider that for the last 5 years, 6 years, especially after 50 years after 1965, the wave of attacks on campuses uh, related to the authoritarian legacies of New Order, especially by stigmatization of communism. And it was really the largest cases in Indonesia, and quite effectively silencing the critics, and also banning the discussions, and also sending the students to the jail because of abusive pressure uh, in order to stop or end the strikes. And therefore, unsurprisingly, the situations actually parallel to the regulation of freedom of expression itself. And why can the regime easily take advantage of intellectuals to be involved in supporting anti-science policies? So that in that context, overcoming, especially during corona pandemic, uh, the policies endanger public interests, and Hence, I have three arguments. The first one is dominant narrative in a fragmented civil society movement, especially looking at the issue of electoral democracy during 2014 and 2019, and it was really dividing into numbers of groups, at least from the pattern of presidential elections, Jokowi and Prabowo as the dominant or the key actors, and followed by many scientists and also civil society groups. And my second argument is related to no alternative strong social movement in this country. Little chance to develop alternative, and especially mostly more orchestrated by the beauty of democratic regime, since formalism in democracy also produce the belief in most civil society groups that they could access the result of democracy, but unfortunately this really limiting the free of expressions and also shrinking civic space. And my third argument is because of silencing criticism, no academic freedom climate, and also quite effective in disciplining academias and also students. And this is also part of shrinking civic space in this country. And I would like to discuss also the last question in my arguments. Why the campus submits easily to rigid rules that make bastion of academic freedom is so fragile. First, indeed, no academic freedom tradition in this country. Uh, it's too much politicized when the students disagree with the lecturers or university management, and even among academia itself, lecturers could not criticize their management. Otherwise, they will get criminalizations or suing from private lawsuit and other really the way to discipline academia. And second one, of course, reflecting what is happening in Indonesia's campuses, because it's also reflecting social structure, feudalism, for instance, or formalism or nominalism in subverting element of freedom. So no critical exchange or debates in order to produce scientific knowledge. And the third one, of course, all of them actually, I'm still confident looking at this as part of authoritarian legacies in disciplining science. Therefore, in order to strengthen the civil society, especially in academic freedom issues, and why we have to deal with these attacks, and hence through its initiative in 2017, especially in December 6 to 7 December in Surabaya, all victims and also civil society organizations, including students and lecturer researchers from various universities, uh, uh, have met and also discussed in order to develop principles, or we call it as Surabaya principles on academic freedom. And interestingly, such principles got attention from the regional academia, especially in Southeast Asia, endorsed by Southeast Asian Human Rights Studies Network, and it was endorsed in Kota Kinabalu, Malaysia, 25th April 2018. And then followed by greater concern from academia, then we established KIKA, Indonesian Caucus for Academic Freedom. This is a national and individual based alliance for strengthening academic freedom in the country, having annual conference and meeting in order to defend rights of academia, And we also provide legal advice before the court and submitting legal opinion or amicus curiae if there is academia was sued by the court. And by collaborating with the Indonesian National Human Rights Commissions, the Surabaya Principles has been adopted as important part of freedoms or fundamental rights into National Human Rights Commission SNP. It consists of norms and regulation standard for freedom of opinion and expressions. And interestingly, just a few months ago, such standard actually was recognized and also agreed by the commissioners and become new rules that can impose or that can be strengthening the policies at university level as well as at the bureaucracy level, and also for law enforcers not to easily criminalize academia. And last one, we also develop collaborative work, actively participating in solidarity, especially to promote academic freedom in Southeast Asia. So that's my points for this conference. Thank you.